the countries that you mentioned, and of course, Africa. So this is, and again, an opportunity because this is a re-election year for him. And have to say this, but he has to continue to feed the racism that the 53% helped him gain office. And then all of those people that like his policies that have seen their wealth built over the past 4 years, feeding them as well. So I'm not at all surprised, particularly when we still have folks that are being held in private detention centers. So that still feeds those people who have wealth and stock in those areas. I'm not terribly surprised, but I think that it's very important that people do understand this, because the other effect of that, America supposedly being first, is you're seeing the impact that we're having on the global community as a trusted place of respite and leading with wisdom.
Bottom line is, I mean, look, it shows you how careless and heartless this administration is, Reese.
Yeah, cruelty is the point. We have a white nationalist administration, and that's always been their policy. One of the first acts that Donald Trump put in place was the Muslim ban. And then you have the child separation policy, which is still essentially in effect. They do not look at immigrants as human beings. They're chess pawns, and they're people to inflict harm and damage upon. It makes absolutely no sense what they're doing. But what Donald Trump fails to understand, aside from the workers that he has in his resorts, which he has no problem finding workers who are immigrants to work in those, but you're cutting off a pipeline of doctors, of medical professionals, of scientists that can actually help us tackle this public health crisis. You're not going to have people who are scientists from other countries even want to come over here and deal with all this crap because of the racist and xenophobic treatment that the Donald Trump administration inflicts on immigrants, and it's ridiculous.
All right, folks, today in Detroit, Donald Trump held a discussion on efforts to help distressed communities recover from the COVID-19 pandemic before touring a Ford manufacturing plant in Ypsilanti Township today. Of course, he didn't wear a mask. He met with national and Detroit area African-American leaders at the Ford Motor Company's Rawsonville plant before touring the facility, which has been repurposed to manufacture ventilators and personal protective equipment. Now, keep in mind, what has also happened is that Ford had to shut down a couple of other plants after they opened because workers tested positive coronavirus. Here is some of what Trump discussed with the black folks.
So than others, and you're making sure that the federal government is also going to cover health costs for those that are uninsured or underinsured. We thank you for this. Our country has been placed on pause, but pause is not stopped. We've been on pause, but we're about to press go and get back going again. I said it before unashamedly, and I say it again. This president I've lived under 12 presidential administrations. I was born during Eisenhower's administration. This president has been the most pro-black president in my lifetime. But when I say pro, I'm saying it pro in the sense of being proactive. He's been proactive rather than reactive to issues concerning minority, underserved, and disadvantaged communities than any other president in my lifetime. I really believe history is going to be kinder to you, Mr. President, than fake news media is today.
Can't be any worse. I mean.
Hello. Hi, Mr. President. How are you? It's such an honor to meet you.
Thank you. It's my honor.
Thank you so much. I want to first tell you thank you so much. I am a COVID-19 survivor, and I got diagnosed probably about a month and a half ago as positive. And just sitting at home and, watching TV and heard you talk about hydrochloroquine, and talked to my doctor. We took it, and within 5 days, I'm here to say I'm good to go. So
a lot of people have said that.
Yes, and so I want to first.
I go off it tomorrow, I think.
Oh, really?
I took it. Well, I was exposed to a couple of people, and I said, let's give it a shot. The doctor said he recommends it, but I looked at the story of Karen and many others, and I said, what do we have to lose? That's what I said. Anyway, so you had a good experience.
I had an excellent experience.
All right. Pastor Darrell Scott says that he's lived under 12 administrations. First one is Eisenhower. So that means Eisenhower, Kennedy, LBJ, Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Obama, Trump. That's 12. There is no way in hell you could remotely compare, Reese, Donald Trump. Out of those 12, there is not a single president, including Obama, that matches President Lyndon Baines Johnson. Mm-hmm. Period. If I look at Civil Rights Act of 64, Voting Rights Act of 65, Fair Housing Act of 68. When I look at, I can go all, that ain't even a conversation. What the hell is he talking about?
You know what? It's just maybe he's obviously completely delusional, right? It's more of the Trump grifting like we talked about last week. It's very profitable for him as a black man to sit up there and lie and suck up to Donald Trump. Donald Trump asked us in 2016, what in the hell do you have to lose? Apparently he feels like he has nothing to lose about pretending or actually taking hydrochloroquine. But let me tell you what we have to lose. Black unemployment right now is 16.7%, maybe even higher. That was April's unemployment rate. We know that we've lost millions of jobs since then. Black people are disproportionately being impacted by this COVID-19 pandemic, whether that's in mortality and whether that's in actual infection rates. So how in the hell is a president who has completely abdicated his responsibility to actually tackle this crisis? How is that making it any better for Black folks? I don't know too many Black folks I would say right now in May of 2020 that they're better off than they were when Obama was president, or you could go back to the other 11 presidents before that, or 10 presidents that Pastor Darrell Scott is referring to. It's really ridiculous, but apparently it works for Pastor Darrell Scott. I don't know who the hell is going to his church, but if you're going to sit up there and lie like that about Donald Trump, then I don't know what else you're going to lie about.
Sure. Erica, I'm sorry, Daryl, I appreciate the laughs. I appreciate that. But this whole idea of how Trump has been so proactive towards Black America, how? Where? Okay, so you want to bring up opportunity zones. Opportunity zones ain't new. Those have been in previous administrations, going back 20 years. Matter of fact, if you really want to break this thing up, who was probably the biggest supporter of African Americans with civil rights? Yeah, we could say LBJ. I would dare say, out of the last 12 presidents, who was the most proactive when it came to Black business? I say Nixon. Bob Brown, the office that was created that drove the Black businesses, Small Business Administration loans, I can point to that. I'm trying to figure out, Trump ain't even in the top 5, top 10. Trump down there with Reagan when it comes to helping Black folks.
Right, the creator of the whole welfare queen term. And then thinking about, I don't trust anybody that pronounces government as government. So that automatically disqualifies me from listening to anything that you have to say. And to praise a person who gained office through Russian interference, that there is a Senate intelligence report that is bipartisan that says as much, when you consider that at the beginning of May, Mitch McConnell opened up the wells of the Senate to do what? To push through judges and leaders of federal agency that will harm him and everybody that was sitting around that table that was as Black as the day that they were born. And so I think that we cannot take this with a grain of salt, because we have to make sure that